Namaste. Welcome to another episode of Yamsock's ASMR. It's been a while between the recording of this and the last episode. So long, in fact, that I grew my first mustache. Today we're going to be reading the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita titled The Supreme Person. I hope that you are feeling welcomed and comfortable because you are certainly welcome, and I hope you get comfortable as we listen to another enlightening chapter from this ancient song. Let's dive right into it. Some commentary by the translator. We now understand that our purpose in life is to attain freedom from this material world, to live forever in the blissful company of Lord Krishna. But do we still have a clear understanding of who Lord Krishna is? Krishna has revealed a lot about himself in the previous chapters, as well as his actual cosmic form, which proves that he is all-encompassing. But we humans will never be able to comprehend him fully. That is why the Lord goes into further detail about his traits in this chapter, as well as our relationship with him and how we should perceive him. So, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, they, the wise people, say that the peepal tree, the material world, which has its roots, unmanifested divine consciousness, upward, and branches, nature, modes of nature, attributes of these modes, senses, mind, etc., along with their manifestations like desire, ego, pleasure, etc., downward, and of which the Vedas, the revelations, are the leaves, the protector, is imperishable, being a reflection of the spiritual world. He who knows that is the knower of the Vedas. What a beautifully symbolic verse. I think we'll have to do some breaking down. So, the wise, the knowers of the Vedas, the first revelations, refer to this universe like a peepal tree. This peepal tree has roots that are upwards, so it's an upside down tree. Upwards it has its roots, and its roots are in unmanifested divine consciousness, and its branches downward represent basically everything material, nature, modes of nature, attributes of these modes, senses, ego, pleasure, etc. And the leaves at the end of those branches are the revelations. So, we normally think of a tree as having the roots downward and growing upward, but consider this universe as coming from the higher self. Then its roots are in the higher self, and then it branches downward and creates the lower self, or the lower reality that we experience at this level, the level of senses and mind, etc. And the ultimate manifestation of that is the revelations, the spiritual truths that come as blossoms to that tree. Krishna elaborates himself. The branches, the various elements of nature of that peepal tree, the material world, are spread downward in the lower beings like humans, animals, plants, etc., and upward in the demigods up to Brahma, the creator, nourished by the modes of material nature, having sense objects as their twigs, the effects of the three modes. which we described last time in Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, purity, activity, and ignorance. And downward in the human world stretch forth the roots as being part of the divine, bound by material actions, namely karma, causing beings to return to this world again and again. Yet the tree's form is not perceived here in this world as such, neither the end nor the beginning nor even the foundation. After cutting down the strong-rooted peepal tree with a mighty weapon of detachment, that condition, liberation, has to be sought for, reaching which no one returns again. Take refuge in him, the primeval person, God alone, from whom has ensued everything from time immemorial. Wow. Free from pride and delusion, having conquered the evil of attachment, absorbed constantly in the self, unattached desires, free from dualities such as happiness and sorrow, the undiluted attain the imperishable state of liberation. Neither the sun illuminates that, nor the moon, nor fire, reaching which they, the liberated souls, do not return. That is my supreme abode, called Vaikunta. It is verily a fragment of mine which, becoming the eternal soul in the living being, in the world of living beings, situated in the material nature, draws to itself the six senses, including the mind. When the Lord obtains a body as an individual soul and thereafter leaves it, he takes these six senses, including the mind, and goes away, as air carries away the fragrance from their sources, flowers, presiding over the ear, the eye, the touch, skin, the taste, tongue, and the smell, nose, as also the mind. He enjoys the sense objects, being the ultimate enjoyer. There's already a lot to unpack there. So, basically, our soul, our local experience of consciousness is just a part of Lord Krishna. And when he is done experiencing the things that he has to experience, he takes our senses and mind to the next journey, the next destination. And ultimately, he is the one truly enjoying what we have to experience, both good and bad, favorable and unfavorable. I remember someone once explained it to me like this. Suppose you are cold and shivering, waiting for a bus. It doesn't feel like you're enjoying that moment, but because you are a part of the divine, and that divine is not actually suffering, the divine is actually as you, enjoying being cold and shivering, waiting for the bus. That is why you are cold and shivering, waiting for the bus, because the Lord wants to know what that feels like in that moment. And you are that. Tattvam Asi. You are that divinity, untouched by the temporary suffering of the moment. The deluded cannot see him departing as the soul from the body, dwelling in the body, enjoying through the senses and the mind, or associating with the modes of material nature. Those with the eyes of knowledge can see. The striving yogis also see him, the Lord, situated in the self as the soul, but the impure and the unintelligent, even though striving, do not see him. So a technical point on the language here, when Krishna is describing the unintelligent and the impure, it's not an insult, it's a definition of what it truly means to be unintelligent. Because we normally associate intelligence with being good at math and being able to fathom complex logical puzzles, etc. And therefore, anyone who is not is unintelligent. But Krishna is secretly saying, no, that doesn't matter. You can be as smart as you can in the material sciences, but if you do not recognize the divine within your very own self and everyone around you, then you cannot be considered intelligent. Similarly, even if you don't have any intelligence in the material sciences whatsoever, yet you are able to perceive that soul, that divinity, then you are truly intelligent. The light in the sun that illuminates the whole world, that which is in the moon, that which is in the fire, know that light to be mine. And permeating the earth, I maintain the beings by my energy, and nourish all the plants by becoming Soma, the moon god, possessing the nectar of immortality, and supplying the juice to them. This is an ancient form of the divine Soma. The moon is considered to possess the nectar of immortality. See, we forget that not only does the light of the sun have an effect on us, the light of the moon does also. Nowadays we have grow lights that simulate the light of the sun, but still today modern science does not recognize this ancient idea of the light of the moon being important too, as that has a very real effect on us and plants too. The light from the moon is of course a reflection from the sun, but metaphorically here, this moon is not the material moon that we ordinarily believe in. This is a much more secret moon, an inner moon. You may have heard of the 7 chakras, from the root all the way to the crown, but there is an 8th in between the Ajna chakra, the third eye, and the Sahasrara chakra, the crown. That is known as the Bindu chakra. And the Bindu chakra represents the moon. It's sometimes also called the Chandra Bindu chakra. Chandra literally meaning moon. That is situated at the cowlick of our head, or at least one of its rays shines out of the cowlick at the back of our head, but is truly situated in the center of our head. And it's said that from that we get drops of Amrita, the nectar of immortality. And that juice that drops from that sacred chakra, or the juice, or the chakra itself, is sometimes deified as Soma. Now you know. Having become the digestive fire, I dwell in the bodies of the beings, and associating with the incoming and outgoing systems of digestion of the body, digest the 4 kinds of food, drunk, chewed, licked, and sucked. And I am seated in the hearts of all. From me come memory, knowledge, as well as their loss. I am verily the one to be known through the study of the Vedas. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, Upanishads, and I am the knower of the Vedas. This is a definition of who the one speaking to us in this book is. There are 2 kinds of persons in this world, the perishable and the imperishable. All beings are perishable, but those situated in oneness of God consciousness are imperishable. But distinct is the Supreme Person, spoken of as being the highest self, the imperishable Lord who permeates and maintains the three worlds, the higher heavenly worlds, the middle earthly worlds, and the lower hellish worlds. Since I am transcendental to the perishable, the spiritually unconscious beings, and even higher than the imperishable, the spiritually conscious beings situated in oneness with the Supreme. Therefore I am well known in the world and in the Vedas as Purushottama, the Supreme Person. Whosoever, being undiluted, knows thus me as Purushottama, they, the all-knowing, worships me with their whole being, O descendant of Bharata. Thus, this most secret science has been told by me to you, O Anagha. Understand this. Understanding this, one becomes wise and has their duties fulfilled, O descendant of Bharata. That's the end of the chapter. Some final commentary by our translator. Although the limited capacities of our material senses make it difficult for us humans to experience God in all aspects of existence, including our own bodies, this does not imply that the Lord is not present in those elements. Lord Krishna firmly emphasizes in this chapter that He is everything and hence is present everywhere. He pervades our entire bodies in the form of indestructible individual souls. He is the ruler of the senses and the supreme beneficiary of all joys. We should know Krishna as the Supreme Person and make use of the senses provided by Him to attain liberation from this material world and reach the self-illuminated world of Krishna, relinquishing all mundane material cravings and attachments, being situated in perfect knowledge of the Supreme Lord, being ever devoted to Him, remaining mentally the same in all conditions. We should keep striving to attain this divine goal of human life. Beautiful. So ends chapter 15. I will add that you can put together different puzzle pieces shared throughout this book to come up with even higher realizations. It's a fun exercise. For example, at the beginning of this chapter, he talked about that sacred peepal tree that stretches from the roots in heaven to the branches here in the world, and ultimately as the Vedas in the leaves. And at the end, Krishna describes himself as ultimately that which is to be known through the Vedas. So, if the trees come from that unmanifest divine potential, the source, the conscious possibility, and the leaves are the ultimate manifestation of that, and Krishna is to be known through then we are basically saying that the leaves of this tree contain the essence of the source, what is being drawn from through the roots in the highest abode. That is to say, the highest revelations that can be experienced here are an expression of that source in the highest abode, Vaikuntha. So, thank you for listening. I hope you meditate or sleep on these enchanting verses. And namaste.